Hey guys, welcome to the Facebook Live Ask Us SEO show and marketing show and pretty much anything that I want to talk about show, episode number 15. So guys, I hope you're well when you're finding this. I haven't done this in a while. I've actually been sick for the last 3 to 4 weeks with the cold, and so I was coughing like crazy, and it's just like, people don't want to hear you coughing and stuff. Like, how annoying is that, right? And I just did it. So guys, hopefully you've been on our Facebook page and you've seen just the recent case study, which is amazeballs, because it's a very, very tough niche and industry. It's very tough B2B manufacturing in Australia, and anybody that knows anybody in the manufacturing game in Australia, or if you've got relatives or friends or whatever, a family that is in the manufacturing industry in Australia, they know that it's not an industry that is super lucrative, and for many years it hasn't been doing very well. And so being able to grow this sort of help this business grow online and get more visibility, it's been great for a couple of reasons. One, it's great because we're helping the Australian economy. We're helping the manufacturing of this country, and so you've got those two great causes. It's a very difficult niche. It's like temperature sensors, and it's just really, really difficult to kind of break through because there's not many people searching for it. You see, so as search marketers, our growth is sort of for our client growth is also limited by the amount of people that are searching within an industry, right? So obviously someone buying a house and like real estate related searches is a lot more, the volume is more dense and higher than this B2B temperature sensor niche. And so the amount of growth that we're able to obtain is therefore limited by the amount of total people searching within the industry. And so it's a difficult niche, and the fact that we've brought growth, and it's not even so much about the traffic as it is about bringing on the new clients and helping the business really grow, because you can just bring anyone to the business, right? But that's one component, but then you really have to bring the targeted customers and clients to their door, and the sort of clients that they deal with are huge, and so our work has been able to help them, and we put up a case study a while ago about it. But we've basically been able to help them through our SEO work, help them find, because this big massive company basically just typed into Google one of our keywords, and it got found, and it was a massive achievement. And so for us, it's a really great time. For me personally, this case study means a lot, because what I really love about it is that our work has had a direct impact in people's lives. We made people's lives better because of it. But not only, and also the CEO, who was once quite hesitant about search engine optimization, is a big believer in it now. And basically, even his staff tells me that he really just is recently obsessed with my industry, which is great. And to have that impact, to have that sort of impact, not just impact, but sort of boosting up our industry through my work, goes back into the entire search marketer community in Australia and worldwide. And so there's a lot of dodgy work that's in our space, unfortunately, and there's a lot of dodgy black hat, just crap work that gets done, and that also reflects on us in a negative light. So when we as a collective, as search marketers, are able to do great work, we somehow all benefit, which is great. I mean, the SEOs that truly benefit are the ones that are doing the work the right way. And so, it's a win for the manufacturing industry. It's a win for the client. It's a win for the Australian economy. It's a win for the entire search marketing community. it's just a great win all round. And for me personally, I find this case study that quite rewarding because it was so tough, and I again at another stage because oh no, we seem to be okay. Connections available. All right, so yeah, so as, I don't know how much is lost because we've got a bit of a live audience, but yeah, it's just rewarding due to the difficulty. And when we took on the campaign, I looked at it and I was a little bit worried because again, it's the manufacturing industry, it's the very tough B2B, business to business industry, and I knew there wasn't many people going to be searching for keywords. I mean, it's just not something that I'm like, we can show with other case studies, substantial growth, but the B2B clients, you don't always show the growth, and sometimes the traffic isn't even the biggest KPI. In fact, for them, it wasn't. It's actually sales, and I wish I could talk about that more, but I can't because I haven't been given permission to. So I'll leave that with you. I think that was just fantastic. You got any questions about it? Hopefully you go on to Facebook, you watch you read about it, and it's all on our Facebook page, and it'd be great if you could comment, you could share, you could like it, you could tweet it out. I appreciate that. Next thing I wanted to talk about was how to choose the right SEO. And look, I didn't even plug this in. I mean, how crazy am I? Anyway, doesn't matter. I'm going to do a video without the microphone. So how to choose the right SEO for your agency. Okay, so basically, there's like so many things, there's so many agencies out there, and to be honest with you, same thing with this case study is that we had to make sure that we were the right partner because we wanted to make sure that we could deliver results. I mean, think about it strictly from our point of view. We want to turn this client into a case study. We wanted to turn this client into a happy customer, one that's going to be with us for a long time, is going to become a raving fan. And now that their client itself, the CEO of the company, the guy that signs the checks, basically now is a big fan and believer in SEO and search engine marketing, before being a little bit skeptical towards it, is a great achievement. So you want to make sure that when you're choosing, I've just got on the board behind me. So here are 4 of my things to consider when you're choosing an SEO partner. And I've talked about this in LinkedIn. But number 1, it's experience in the industry. Now, this may sound a little bit like Andrew, what are you talking about? Of course, there's obviously experience in the industry. But let me explain a little bit further. You want to make sure that he or she has experience prior to working with you. And the more experience they have around your industry, the better. Why? Because you can really work out that you understand how the market works, you understand the competitors, you understand how difficult the industry is to get rankings for, which are good keywords. And yes, you can learn this as you go along. And sometimes, you you still prefer to work with someone else, and that's totally fine. But if you have an SEO that you're favoring, you've got two SEOs that you're favoring, and it comes down to this, I would always opt for the one that's got a bit more experience in the industry, just because they understand how it works and how to like what keywords are going to work for you, even if they haven't been involved in your industry for a few years, but they kind of understand it a little bit better. So I think experience in your industry is the key. Second, work with an SEO that has experience in solving your particular problem. Now, many SEOs have, like, I've been doing it for 11 plus years, and naturally you gravitate towards certain areas, right? Sometimes it's because you like certain areas more. Sometimes it's because you've got many clients when you're working for an agency and the company sort of pulls you on certain campaigns. And so some SEOs are more technically inclined, some are more off-page content creating, content marketer inclined. And so sometimes, especially with the really big sites, what we found is that with one of my particular clients, we had to invest for the first 12 months primarily just solving technical SEO problems. We were negotiating prices with developers to get work fixed. There was things on the website that had to get fixed, things on the website that had to get changed, things on the website that was not working correctly. We had to optimize the website, we had to fix certain things up, and it was just a massive website, talking about over 150k pages, and there was just a lot, and there still is until we get the new website up, but there was a lot of crawlability problems and accessibility problems, and to really maximize our foundation, we had to do a lot of work, and also discussions with developers and all the rest of it. And it was a really tough sort of campaign to be a part of. But because my background, even within SEO, is generally more technically inclined, and as much as I love the link building and the content marketing, but technical SEO seems to be something that I've always just ended up being in, and so solving a lot of problems was such a big component of getting them to the next level. And so, he happened to find me, and I was able to be really experienced in a certain area, and that's the problem. He didn't know this, but this was the problem that he needed help most with, and that's why we saw the most amount of growth, in the short and long term. So figuring out what is your biggest problem within SEO. Is it content creation? Is your website hasn't changed? You've only got like 10 pages, so then it's not really technically. Then you need to start working out building more pages, getting content ideas, getting help and assistance with content writing and all the rest of it. So it really depends where you are in the journey. And of course, certain SEOs may be inclined and have experience in different areas that may help you get to the next level. Like, I actually thought about this after I did the video on LinkedIn, but for example, when I did one of my talks back in May, one of the guys after the talk, I can't remember if it was before or after, he came up to me and he said, do you have any experience with SEO in regards to startups? And my answer was no. I don't have any much experience in 11 plus years working with startups. Even in my agency days, we've always dealt with small to medium businesses, even small to large, and a few blue chip, but never truly startup level. And so if we get a startup client come on board, I tell them straight away. Like, I even told that guy, look, man, I haven't had no experience with startup. I'm happy to send me details if you like, but I'm just telling you right now, I've had no experience, no case studies, no clients in 11 plus years. Maybe there was a few that I can't think of, but primarily, we probably wouldn't be the right partner for you, because doing SEO for startups is really difficult, and they definitely must have the long term. And look, all SEO is long term, but startup SEO, like startup business SEO, man, that's a rough gig, especially in difficult niche areas. So some people may say, oh, but you know, all SEO is kind of the same when you think about it. And macro level, it can be. I mean, there is some truth to that. But when you start getting nitty gritty and down to it, to the finer points, to like, you know, people talk about like growth hacking and things like that. But, you know, in the startup phase, you know, tapping into the low-hanging fruit, having intuition to know what's going to get you the best sort of grab in the short term is an intuition. It's a skill, because you almost have to be entrepreneur level, right? Where you've just got that sort of psyche to, or intuition or just know how to get what you need to get the best, you know, biggest growth in the short amount of time. Because startups is basically relying on that. So, you know. 3, the current SEO doesn't have too many competitors. So essentially, you don't want to have an SEO that you're working with. Now, we're totally exclusive. And I'm not going to rubbish out SEOs that aren't exclusive, because there's a lot of SEOs in the industry that aren't exclusive that I respect. But for us, we are totally exclusive. So, like, our primary SEO services are exclusive. And if you work with us, we don't work with your competitors. And so for us, that this is not a problem. But even if you're choosing other SEO partners, you want to make sure that they don't have, like, if you're in a competitive niche, you really want to make sure that they don't have too many competitors. Because think about it from the SEO point of view, right? It's going to be a little bit awkward for the agency, right? They may not admit it, but it would be, right? Because you got like 10 businesses in the same industry. So you just something to think about, because if you've got I mean, sometimes I had, when I was working for the last agency, sometimes I would have 2 or 3 clients that were in the same industry, and it was so awkward for me, because you'd finish working on one and then you jump to another one. It's like, you know, what do you like? It's just, for me, it was very uncomfortable. And so I definitely recommend not working with SEOs that are going to have like 10 competitors. Like, that wouldn't be what I would recommend for you. Number 4, this is probably one that I can talk about for the next 2 hours: business savviness. Now, if you can get SEOs that run their own businesses, great. I think there's a lot of advantage there, and most of the SEO like friends that we have are running their own agencies. But does that mean that anyone that isn't a good SEO? Of course not. So you want to at least make sure, if they are working on an agency and your SEO professional is working for representing an agency, then what you would want to make sure is that, do they run their own website? Do they run some element of responsibility outside just working for clients? Like, do they have their own work invested in their own website, right? I think when you are an SEO and you have your own website and you do stuff for yourself, you really learn